Okay.
I don't know if I did this right.
I did it in like 7 seconds. Not really, but it was really fast, so I think I did it wrong.
Yeah.
Did you get like the same
I got, like,
answers for
big
3
numbers.
problems?
No, it's 4 square root 2, 4 square root 2, 4 square root 3.
What?
I think I got 4 square root 2, 4 square root 2, 4 square root 2.
That's what I had originally, and then
Well, I
Sarah helped me
did
when we
this
redid it, and then it made sense.
Wrong.
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
I got like
we're good.
Okay, I got. Okay, I need help.
I did this wrong.
Yeah, we got you.
You got 4 square root 3.
Yeah,
Alright, let's do this. Okay.
Okay.
Wait, I need a book. Yeah, I need it too, so okay, what page is this one?
And
This is
248.
It's
on the board. Yeah.
Okay. Number 15, 15. WB. Alright.
Is this a big triangle? I like it like that. Yeah.
It's 2 minutes later than the bell. I'm so sorry. Please don't pay any attention.
I just put my pen out. Yeah, I'm sorry.
What are you talking about?
Nothing.
I'm sorry.
Where is everyone?
Lauren's not here.
Oh,
I don't know where Wolfie
this
is.
is
At
brain
elementary
probably
grade.
let out late.
Yeah. She might not heard
She
bell.
can't hear the bell sometimes.
Well, we'll go ahead and start without them. Did you guys have any questions on your homework? You still checking?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I know these.
What do you do?
I don't know these.
I think you get first.
Because, there was no height. Yeah. Because it's one, like,
So you do 3? So 16 plus 16 plus 16?
which was 48. So it'd be 48 squared, which.
16 equals the square root of 48 equals 4 square root.
Thank you, Nathan. Yeah, does that make sense?
Yes. Did you get? Okay.
You feel leveled up.
Miss Green's class.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know it.
Oh, God.
Fun to be petted.
No, I know, I do
There's
really
somebody
like
else
people
who
like that too, it's
There's
great.
the two of you.
It's just the two of us. Well, that's in her class, that's in this class.
Okay.
Swear it's just-
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Oh, yeah.
I do it everywhere. Like, that is true respect. Yeah.
It's 6 squared plus 4 squared.
Oh
my goodness.
Okay, are you done checking?
Whoa, don't take it off, don't take it off.
Yes? Alright, any questions on 1 through 19? Guys? Nice.
I think the first one said that.
A, C, and D, S. Yes. Because AC would be congruent to DB. And if you look at triangle DBS, which isn't there, but it would be like cutting through the cube, then that would be the hypotenuse and DB would be the base. So yes, that's correct. Other questions? Morgan?
Number 7.
WC is the square root of what? Anyone? Mac?
Plus the radical of 45 squared. Did I say that right? I don't know if I said that right.
Okay, for WC, you can use the formula for the diagonal of a rectangular solid, which is the square root of the length squared plus the width squared plus the height squared. Because WC is a diagonal of that, so it would be the square root of 3 squared plus 6 squared plus 4 squared.
Where do you get the 4 from?
The length, the width, and the height. 4 is the width.
Like
That's
I
given to you.
Like I see the number 4 over here, but I don't see how it like goes into the triangle or like the diagonal.
It doesn't. It's part of the. It's part of the rectangular solid. This formula that I gave you guys
Yeah.
for the diagonal of a rectangular solid, and I showed you why it works
Oh,
yesterday.
That's
why.
Length.
Okay.
I didn't get that.
You didn't get this in your notes.
Oh no, yeah, like
Oh.
I got it all
makes
down.
sense, but as long as it knows what I'm supposed to do, I'm okay to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's what you're supposed to do. Because it's a diagonal. WC is the diagonal of the rectangular solid. So even though 4 is not part of like a triangle with WC, it would be 4 would be used to find the base of the triangle AC, and so that's why we have to use it. So this would be the square root of 9 plus 36 plus 16. I don't know what that is. So, that doesn't have any, yeah. That's what I'm thinking. So the square root of 61 is in simplest form. Okay? Anything else? No? Okay. I do want to do the word problems on this, the 21 through 28, because that is what I foresee you seeing on your standardized tests, word problems of that sort, where you have to visualize what they're telling you and the information that you're given. So let's do an example or two together, starting with number 22. So you can put these in your notes. Alright, so 22 says, the bottom of a rectangular box is bounded by a rectangle 6 centimeters long and 4 centimeters wide. If the height of the box is 10 centimeters, find the length of a diagonal of the box. So in that case, you might not need to draw a picture because they basically give you the length, the width, and the height, which is all you need to calculate the diagonal of the box. The length is 6, the width is 4, and the height is 10. So to find the length of a diagonal, what would we do?
Square all of them and
Yes, and then take the square root of that. So the square root of 6 squared plus 4 squared plus 10 squared. So that'll give you the square root of 152. So we do need to simplify that. And let's see. I'll go ahead and make a tree. So 4 times 38. Okay, so since 4 is a perfect square, or you have 2 2's, for that you can factor out, or I guess take out a 2. So it'd be 2 times the square root of 38. Questions? No? Okay, let's look at 24. Twenty-four says the bottom of a rectangular box is bounded by a rectangle whose diagonal has a length of 2 square root 13. If the height of the box is 5 centimeters, find the length of a diagonal of the box. So in this case, you might want to draw a picture. Okay, so we're given the diagonal of the bottom of the box is 2 square root 13. And we're given the height of the box is 5 centimeters. And we need to find a length of the diagonal of the box. Maybe I'll write the 5 over here. Okay, so if this is 5, and this is 2 square root 13, then how can I find the diagonal of the box? Morgan?
Could you do 2 square root 13 equals 5 plus x?
No. But make this all exterior. Both feet.
Could you just do 5 squared plus 2 square root 13 squared equals what's the diagonal that you're looking
Yes.
for? Cool.
Well, the diagonal squared equals,
Oh,
okay, because this red and orange triangle here, if I take it out, would look like this. Can you guys see that? So that's why we can use the Pythagorean theorem. The diagonal squared will equal 5 squared plus 2 squared 13 squared. Morgan?
But don't we know what the diagonal is?
We know what the diagonal of the bottom is, but that is the diagonal of the face, not the diagonal of the box.
Okay. I see that, but how did you know that from the whose diagonal? Oh, never mind. Okay, I get it now. Thank you.
Okay, good. Alright, so what's 2 squared root 13 squared? Alright,
52.
4 times 13. Yes, 52 plus 25. And so then to get the diagonal, we would have to do what to that? We'll add it, okay, which would give you,
77 squared
okay, and then what?
square root it.
Square root it. And that would be 7 times 11, and so that is in simplest form. Alright, let's look at 26. Twenty-six says, find the length of a diagonal of a cube with an edge 4 centimeters long. So if they tell me it's a cube, what do I know about it, Sarah?
All the edges are the same.
Right, all of the edges are the same length. So the length, the width, and the height are all going to be what, in this case? 4. Okay, so I have the length, the width, and the height, and I need to find the diagonal. So I can just use the formula. That would be the square root of 4 squared plus 4 squared plus 4 squared. So 16 times 3 is 48. And that can be simplified. What would that be simplified?
2. 2.
What?
2.
4 squared root 2? 4 squared root 3? Okay, because if you have 48, that would be 16 times 3, and 16 is perfect square. Okay. Or you could break it down. Keep going. What's that? Alan?
So like, say like when you're like doing like the top and it's like 4 square, like that, shouldn't you know that's like 4 square root 3? Like, cause their 4's like would be a perfect number when it's squared. So like, couldn't you just figure that out? Like,
Yeah, you could rewrite this.
like, do you have to like try to like figure out the factor if you just know like 4 is perfect square? Like, it's double squares. So
You could rewrite this right here as 3 times 4 squared.
yeah.
And so that the square root of 4 squared is 4, and so the 4 comes out. If you think about it like that, that works, yeah. Alright, let's do one more. 28. Any questions so far? Alright, 28. The length of a diagonal of a cube is 5 square root 3 centimeters. Find the length of an edge of the cube. So there's probably a couple different ways we could go about doing that. If we think about the one that we just did, and how you guys said how we could rewrite this, we could say that the diagonal, well, we know what the diagonal is 5 square root 3. So we can say 5 square root 3 equals the square root of 3 times x squared. We're trying to find the length of the side. Because of the way we just did the last one, we can see that that would sort of be the pattern. And solve that for x, which would be what? 5, right? Or we could draw a picture. If you can't see it that way, which might be a little bit of a stretch for some of you, we could draw a picture and see that the diagonal is 5 square root 3. And so then we need to figure out what one of these sides are. So I guess it's still going to be easier to use the formula. If we could find the base and we could find the height using, well, okay, never mind. I'm sorry. So the diagonal, we know, equals, I'm going to go back to this formula, the length squared plus the width squared plus the height squared. Well, in this case, the length, the width, and the height, they're all the same. You can choose whatever letter you want to represent that. So, it says find the length of an edge, so if we use E, we could say the diagonal equals the square root of E squared plus E squared plus E squared. And so the diagonal equals 3, the square root of 3E squared. Is everybody with me? Questions? Okay, and so we know the diagonal is 5 square root 3, so 5 square root 3 equals this, and the square root of E squared would be E, so it would be E square root 3. So if we're solving that for E, or you could probably just look at it and tell, then E equals 5. That edge is 5. Sarah?
I don't understand how you went from square root 3 e squared to e square root 3.
Okay, so this means the square root of 3 times the square root of e squared. Right? We can separate them out that way. And so the square root of e squared is e. And that's how we get that. Other questions back?
So when you write it, shouldn't we just put like e squared in parentheses? Since 3 isn't squared, or is that right?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Kylan?
Can you just like explain it one more time? Like, I'm just kind of confused.
Yes. Okay. So we're really just using the formula. My picture is not very helpful. Which is that the length of the diagonal equals the square root of the length squared plus the width squared plus the height squared. Well, in a cube, the length, the width, and the height are all the same. Okay, and so we're just gonna call that E for the edge. And so, bless you. So if I put E in for the length, the width, and the height, then I can simplify this E squared plus E squared plus E squared to be, there's 3 E squareds. And the reason why I do that is because otherwise it's very difficult to go ahead and solve that for E. Because after I get it to where they're all multiplying, I can separate it out this way like in the orange. So if there's 3 E squared, then that would be the square root of 3 times the square root of E squared. Right here. Are you with me? Yes? And so square and square root undo each other, and so that leaves me with just the E. So that's why I have E times the square root of 3, so if I'm solving for E, then I can divide both sides by the square root of 3 to get E back. Better?
Yeah.
Yes? Morgan?
If a square root undoes a square, for the first step, why couldn't you just say diagonal equals L plus W plus H?
Because in that case, they're adding, and so it's not like, there has to be one term. Those are 3 separate terms that are all taking the square root of. It only undoes the square if it's just on that term.
So what if you separate it? Oh, it'd have to be multiplying to be able to separate
Yes,
it,
it
right?
has to be multiplying to separate it, yes.
Okay. So on the second step, couldn't you do D equal, oh, nope, that's still addition. Okay, never mind. That makes sense.
Okay. Good. Anything else? No? Okay, so for your assignment then, let's do page 248, numbers 21 through 27. And those will be similar to the ones that we just and then we'll review on Monday and quiz on Tuesday.
Is it all in the homework? Pretty much. The first section is just like the country and after, so if you fill out that graph, then you got it. And then the second part, you just have to like look at your picture. Like, this is the list, this is this, and you can't see it, and it's like, so it's like, yeah, yeah. So if you like, it's, I think that's in your packet.
Yeah.
52 square feet.
So-
And it's also, for geography, like we're allowed to use a packet, for the homework, like a study guide, and everything is in the packet.
Yeah.
It's great.
So like if
Because
we
we
took
all
it
just got
out,
100%.
then like,
And I'm like
Fantastic.
not been doing well, so that's
Yeah.
gonna help my score a lot. Yeah. Or
I
let's just make it all.
didn't turn in anthology from last week because I didn't take it on Friday and then Monday I forgot and then we were closed and then I don't even know what happened and then,
oh, you
so
bring
yeah.
it back to the
So I'm gonna be
the
like,
south side.
I'm so sorry.
You can take
Go ahead if you want. I'm gonna say that to her.
Yeah,
I didn't turn my homework in for like a whole
That
day.
She's gone, yeah.
She's like, well,
And she just left and I was like,
You can put it in her box.
yeah,
My hair
I
put
didn't
that
realize
that
that until
right.
like, you know, alongside all the way through.
Not even that.
I typed half of it and then I didn't type the other half.
Like, no, I'm
So, like,
done.
yeah. Okay, so this is the first.
Like, don't read that now.
Okay,
And then,
and then
supposed
we're
to,
like,
I don't know.
yes.
well, you should probably.
And then have
listen
like-
to it.
There's no point, like.
Yeah, there is.
It's like that white part.
Yeah, look, okay, look.
Well, getting 100%.
Listen to me.
You know how my mom like really
Sign,
wanted, she
sounds like
was
study.
Mrs. Galut studies, like the German mom, and she like.
Yeah,
she's
now.
like,
Okay, I got that one. She's just, that's just
Hold
my
on,
mom.
but
Yeah.
they had to do filming last night for the degrees. And I did her
Oh,
hair, and like I did
sounds
like,
like
I split it,
And
Yeah.
then then can be named
and
like,
then I
you
did
know.
like
Yeah.
twisting,
And
so
then
it was
it's
like
like-
flat against her head.
That's
and I
right.
braided
That's
it,
okay.
I braided
Like,
but we had to braid
ugly.
the
So it's opposite.
ribbons and then the color of Germany,
One who gives
like yellow, red, and black, into her braids, and then we put it
give
up,
points on what you want to do.
and that's
Those are all ones.
and then we like pinned that down, but then all the ribbons were like sticking out, like that, and then she had a green
Yeah,
hat
and
with like
that's
red
like
and yellow and black feathers,
furlong.
and she
You wanna
had
steal
green
my loincloth?
dropped in the
You wanna steal my loincloth?
I was just like,
So this is Ed, can you use this time to work in your silence, please? Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
and then
I will not fail. I will skip it because it's
on the bottom.
You should tell me when you want it.
Put it off
in weird places.
square. Oh, so it's like, oh, 4, 4, and 6.
Ooh, if you quarrel with me, you'll be complaining afterwards. Okay, yeah,
16 plus 16 plus 36. I did 2 plus 3.
Oh no, that's not. That was you missed Ranker. Ranker is really. It's gonna be. It's like, that means he's excited. I feel it.
Still think of Star Wars when I see